Are you sick of hearing about whether Finn would have got that kick and would Scotland have won that game with him at fly half, lads?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Andy Rowe. Jesus Christ. That is the go-to question, isn't it? Which a lot of people are asking.
Like, in my mind, I think it's a completely irrelevant question. Whether he was in the squad or not, he couldn't have played, so it's irrelevant, right?
But would he have got it, Goody? Like Andy Rowe's asking you,
well,
would he
history
got it?
says he got it last year, didn't he, against Australia to win the game.
Oh, God.
So, and this is the thing with it, right? I mean, the crazy thing is, Scotland playing a game outside of the window when you've got 4 test matches. I don't get it. It's obviously to do with the scheduling of different teams and all that stuff. But whether Finn was picked in the squad and the whole headlines, we spoke about it last week, didn't we? He's not been named in the squad at all for these autumn internationals. He still couldn't have played because he plays in Racing and earns €750,000 a year probably. So, you know, he made that choice to go and play outside of Scotland. It's been amazing for him. He couldn't have played whether he was the best fly-off in the world in Gregor's eyes or not on Saturday. So, and I actually think Blair Kinghorn, bar the kick at the end, I thought his goal kicking was below par. Let's be honest, but I thought he actually played really well. A few times he was a little bit too deep in the attacking sense, away from the defensive line, but he scores the try. I think they put some decent shapes on an attack. They didn't have masses of possession. And they got themselves in a position to win the game. So it's classic Scotland, though, isn't it? Same old Scotland, the old plucky loser. They're so close, all fart, no poo, as I said last week. But same old Scotland. Very similar to when Jim Hamilton played. Loads of penalties, a real shit line out, and a dodgy goal kicker.
Well, the last bit is right. The last bit is right. The one thing that surprised me, and watching back on TV, I didn't get a sense of it when I was in the stadium. I was mainly looking up and looking down. That's how you drink a bottle, isn't it? You look up, then you look down, and you've missed it. But was the game management, and I don't know whether it was a general consensus because it was out of the test window or whatever, or this is the new thing that they want to do, or we think we're Ireland and not taking the points and kicking to the corner and not coming away with anything. So that was one thing that I was surprised at looking at on TV. But also, you could say there was a degree where we were comfortable. Like, we didn't play that well. It was a bit of a weird game, but we're winning 15 points to 6. You know what I mean? So you're thinking, how can we lose this? And as Scotland do, that is kind of what we do, don't we? And there was a few big decisions that you could maybe go through. We were lucky not to have a red card. We got a yellow card. There was a bit of a weird interaction around that. Goody said the line-out didn't function. It's probably one of our strongest assets that we normally have. But yeah, like, again, I don't want to labour your point, Andy Rowe, in terms of, like, would Scotland have won if Finn Russell was there? But the one big question needs to be, especially in these big games, and we can chat to Nick about how close the games have been in recent years, especially at the top end of the table. I'll go and I'll reference a question you asked 3 or 4 weeks ago, John Cooney. So if you're not going to have Finn Russell as a goal kicker in your team and you're going to put Blair Kinghorn in there, who I agree with Goody had a fantastic game in attack. That was a world-class finish as well, where he managed to chip through in the speed that he showed for that. But ultimately, to win test matches, you need to be able to have a kicker that, I don't know, what's the percentage, Goody? What, over 85, 90?
To be an international class goal kicker, you're 80% plus. And probably in these days, it's probably close to 90%. So your Owen Farrells, your big kickers in the world, your Owen Farrells, your Johnny Sextons, your Dan Biggers in Australia, Bernard Foley. He was a difference. His goal kicking was a difference, effectively, wasn't it? He got a couple where Blair Kinghorn missed. You've got to be pushing 90%.
And on that, and that's what I mean. So on the kicking, and even us talking about it, if Blair picks something up or if a media outlet picks something up, that pressure mounts. And how is he going to deal with that pressure, having missed a couple of kicks at the weekend? I looked, I didn't think they were easy kicks, but I thought that an international of that quality I don't know. Like, should he have got them? I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think he should have.
He'll be disappointed. And the big thing is, and this is a question for you, Jim, and probably how you answer it might give you more work or less work with the SRU. So the SRU obviously run Scotland Rugby, right? They run. How much control do they have over Edinburgh and Glasgow? Because the question is, Blair Kinghorn does not kick for Edinburgh. So if they're paying for everything, as they do in Ireland, could they not say, well, if Blair Kinghorn's playing, he needs to goal kick for Edinburgh? So Buffelli kicks, doesn't he? And Buffelli's a wonderful kicker for Edinburgh. But how are you doing yourselves in the foot effectively by picking your 10 for Scotland, who doesn't goal kick on the weekend for Edinburgh, yet the SRU are paying all the money down to these two regions and supporting them financially. But have they got much say around what they're doing at regional level? I don't know. That's a question for you, Jim.
Yeah, I'm happy with what the SRU are doing. I think they're just doing everything so right.
Just a stat that's just come in from producer Rob. Finn Russell has a 91% kick percentage in the top 14 this year.
So what's going on here? Is that there's a conspiracy going on? Is there? Is it get Finn back? Because I don't think it's going to happen. I messaged him at the weekend when I had a few beers. I was getting all emotional. Not that I want him to come back, but I do want him to come back. Whether or not it's him and Blair Kinghorn at 15 or Blair Kinghorn on the wing and shove out Duan, who's an average player, or Darcy.
Why are you trying to drop Poggy?
I'm not. I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to make this situation work for the best players and the best people. You know, Blair Kinghorn, I thought, did himself a world of good at the weekend in terms of how he played, how confident he looked. I mean, imagine how much pressure he must feel. Every single person's talking about Finn. Like, it's almost old news now and we're still talking about it. But that is the enormity of not having someone like Finn in a Scotland team. So we're going to naturally talk about it. So, but we've got to big up Blair. I thought he played really well in the face of adversity. And the big question, just to labour the point, and it's difficult because no disrespect to Fiji, but we've got Fiji at the weekend, and then we've got New Zealand. If you've not got a 85, 90% goal kicker in them tight games and tight games that we've won historically, then there's an issue, isn't there? So, Cooney!
I mean, I hear you about Cooney, but I just got to ask you a question. When's there ever been a tight game between New Zealand and Scotland, just for our listeners?
I don't know whether I'm doing Scotland and stitching them up. New Zealand are shite at the minute.